All right, Miss Malin, I'm going to make you the host.
All right, thank you.
And you guys are good to go.
Okay. So hi, everyone. So our workshop today is designed to let you know a little bit about about early language development and how we use play and daily routines to encourage language development in young children. And so I'll introduce the speech pathologist because I think we might be all over the board here. I'm Cheryl Doden. I'm one of the speech pathologists. I'll let Miss Malin.
Hi, I'm Margaret Malin. I'm one of the speech pathologists at Ridge Central for preschool through second grade.
I'm Gabby Lewis. I'm the speech pathologist at Ridge Lawn and Finley. So I see third graders through eighth graders.
Okay. And I primarily see some of the older children. I do see some preschoolers in Ridge Central. So we're going to let Miss Malin begin the presentation about language development.
Right, here we go. Okay, so again, our presentation, we're talking about communication development in our early child population and ways that we can support language growth. So I will begin by discussing what is communication. Communication, it addresses both speech and language skills. Speech is how children produce sounds and words, and then language encompasses both their understanding, so that receptive language, and their expression, so how they are communicating their wants and needs. All right, still admitting a few people, but I'll keep going. So I wanted to share this quote from the American Speech Language Hearing Association because it really emphasizes that expression does not have to be verbal. There are multiple modes of expression. So I'll go ahead and read it. It says, forms of expression may include personalized movements, gestures, objects, vocalizations, verbalizations, signs, pictures, symbols, and then augmentative and alternative AAC devices. So really, communication is not only verbal, it's all these multiple modes. Okay, and we also want to focus on the fact that starting from as young as 5 months old, children begin to engage in play. Many different types of play, which I will go over in the next few slides. But one of the biggest points I want to emphasize here, play is key to building communication skills. Here we have a little graphic going over the different types of play. This really just shows that as your child ages, their play changes, it develops, it takes on new forms, it becomes more complex, symbolic, and imaginative. Okay, so here are the different types of play. We have coordinated orienting play, cause-effect play, functional play, pretend play, symbolic play, and then we have that dramatic or narrative play. So we have coordinating orienting play. This type of play occurs around about 5 months old, and this is when your child maybe is mouthing objects, maybe they're shaking objects or banging objects. So these are the types of behaviors that we would see at this age, and that is just when they're starting to explore toys in their environment, and that's that mouthing piece. They're exploring the toy with their mouth, but also with their hands when they're shaking them. Next, we have cause-effect play, and this occurs at around 9 months old. So an example of cause-effect play would be your child is pushing buttons on a toy to hear the noises it makes, or maybe someone built a big tower and they want to push it down to see the fallout. So those are 2 examples of cause-effect play. Next, we have functional play.
Food off their high chair.
Yes, exactly.
Make you pick it up 100 times.
Next, we have functional play, and this occurs around 12 months. Examples of this type of play is when your child rolls a ball, maybe they push a car or stack blocks. Next, we have pretend play. This occurs around 18 months. So this would be maybe your child takes a spoon and puts it to their stuffed animal's mouth to pretend like the stuffed animal is eating, or they put a cup to the stuffed animal's mouth to pretend like it's drinking. They might lay down their stuffed animal, put a blanket over it, tuck it in, and pretend like it's going to sleep. So these are all types of play that occur around 18 months. And really the point of showing these different types of play is to show how their play evolves and how it grows. Next, we'll go into symbolic play. So this would occur around 2 years or 24 months. This type of play, maybe they are acting out a familiar routine. So maybe they are pretending to eat breakfast and they're pretending to set the table. They're pretending to go to the fridge. So that would be a way that they're acting out a familiar routine. They might also use one as another. So an example of this would be, say they have a cardboard box and they push it and pretend like it's a car. They say vroom, vroom, and push it on the carpet. And then last, we have that dramatic or narrative play, which occurs around 4 years old. And this is really when you start to see your child's imagination. They are creating scenarios. Maybe they're pretending to be a princess or be a superhero. And they are describing what they're doing in sentences. So now that I have went over the different types of play, I want to talk about the strategies we can use to promote their communication skills while they are playing. So these are called responsive strategies, and I will go over them, each of them, and then give examples of how you can use them. So the first strategy is called play and engage. With this strategy, it essentially means we are just playing with our children while they're enjoying their favorite toys or engaging in their favorite activities, such as drawing or swimming or Legos. And the focus of this strategy is that children learn when they are motivated, when they're exploring their interests. That is when they are most attuned to not only the activity, but also to you. So that is our first strategy that we try to use as much as we can while we're working with them. The second strategy is called notice. And so this means that we react to all of our child's communication attempts, whether it's through pointing, whether they are reaching for something, vocalizing, even verbalizing. And the focus of this is that the more we respond to their attempts to communicate, the more opportunity they have to practice using language. It also teaches them that communication is meaningful and it will help them to get their needs met from a young age. Our third strategy is called mirroring and mapping. So with this strategy, you are imitating your child's nonverbal behavior and you are putting 1 to 2 words to that behavior. So for example, say your child gives their toy a big hug. You would also maybe give yourself a big hug or give the toy a big hug, and you would verbalize hug or hug it. The next strategy we use is called taking turns. So just like we take turns in conversation with adults, we should also take turns engaging in conversation with our children or with your child as well. So for example, if your child initiates an interaction, again, whether it's through vocalizing, pointing, verbalizing, you should respond and then wait at least 5 seconds for them to respond to you before you continue speaking. Because again, like I've been saying, this gives your child more opportunity to use language on a daily basis. And it also teaches them how a conversation should go, that I take a turn, you take a turn. I take a turn, you take a turn. Next, we will go over expansions. So when using expansions, we are imitating our child's verbalizations or gestures and then adding 1 to 2 more words. So an example of this would be, say your child points to a swing. Then you would point to the swing and verbalize swing. Say your child then imitated you and said swing. You would add 1 to 2 more words and you might say, oh, push the swing. So that would expand their language and help them to see how they could expand that 1 word into 2 to 3 words. Okay, so we discussed the responsive strategies. Now we will go over the directive strategies. So directive strategies really focus on time delays, and I will kind of go into the different types of time delays and how we can use them to create more opportunities for communication. So there are 3 types of time delays. We have inadequate portions, choices, and assistance. I will start by going over inadequate portions. So this means we may give a child small or inadequate portions of a desired item or a material. For example, at snack time, you might give your child 1 to 2 pieces of a desired food item at a time, and you encourage them to request more prior to giving them another food item or another piece of the food item. But you want to make sure that during snack time, you're using this strategy sporadically and not every single time. You don't want to frustrate them if they're hungry. This is just a way to use it throughout your day, every single time. Another example of this strategy would be if they are using Play-Doh or playing with Play-Doh. You might give them 1 to 2 small pieces of Play-Doh at a time and hold the rest of the Play-Doh in your hand. You might encourage them to request more prior to giving them another piece of Play-Doh. The next time delay I will discuss is choices. So really providing choices is not only one of the easiest ways that we can elicit additional communication opportunities, but it's also a huge way that we can include it in every single routine throughout our day. So for example, at snack time, you might hold up 2 choices. So you might say, oh, do you want an apple or a banana? And then wait for them to respond. Once they respond, whether it's through reaching for an item or pointing to an item, verbalizing apple. If they have not verbalized apple, you might encourage them to use the word apple. You would say apple. If they don't say the word, you would encourage them again. You would say apple. But you only want to do this 1 to 2 times because again, we do not want to frustrate the child. We want them to say the word when they're ready. And then that 3rd time delay is assistance. So providing your child with assistance in completing a task or getting their needs met is another huge way we can create more communication opportunities. For example, you might put desired toys or food in a container that you know is difficult to open. If they point to the container or if they give you the container to open it, that's when you want to encourage them, say help, or you can sign help. Okay, those are all the strategies for today, but now we will go into how we can incorporate those strategies into our daily routines. So here I just listed daily routines that you have every single day. We have mealtime, outdoor play, during the car ride, bath time, brushing our teeth, putting on your pajamas, a bedtime story, or tucking your child in. Okay, and then why is incorporating these strategies into our daily routine so important? This is because children learn language through constant repetition. So routines are truly the perfect opportunity to use specific words and phrases on that daily basis and give them the repetition that they need.
I can, all right. All right, and this is where I'm going to go in and, do you have any questions for Miss Malin? Questions about any of that?
No.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go, pardon me?
I actually just wanted to add a little idea there with Miss Mallon, what she was sharing with like different opportunities or ways to kind of bring out that communication. I had a different word that I actually learned it with just to kind of put it in different perspective. It's called communicative temptations. You're kind of just like bringing it out of them a little bit, but it you know, it's there's a lot of different ways to do it, as she was showing there.
Yeah, and if they don't respond, like as she was talking about the requesting, you know, and they are hungry, but they're not going to say more, you can always model it for them. You can say, oh, well, you want more, you know what I mean? So that they're not getting frustrated, but it's just showing them the opportunity of how to use a request. So I'm just going to kind of add on to what Ms. Malin was saying and talk about the different types of words that we might want to encourage using to expand their language. And then I'll just give some examples of how you can use routines and then play routines also to help build and expand their sentences. So some of the words that kids need to use and understand nouns. They need to know the names of the items in their everyday environment. They need to know we're sitting in a chair, this is a table. They need to know the names of their clothing and their body parts. So they need to know the names of things, but they also need, in order to, we don't talk in just nouns. We have to have a variety of words in order to build sentences. So kids need to also have action words kind of presented to them and repeated to them. So if you're pushing the shopping cart, you might want to use that word. We're going to push the cart over here. Do you want a chance to push? Just the different action words. I'm brushing your hair. We're brushing the teeth. I'm driving the car. Using action words so that they can be exposed to those words and start to incorporate them into their sentences. We want to, you know, of course, use greetings, hello, and goodbye, so that those are things that they start to learn. We want to use describing words. If you're driving, you can, and you see a big truck, you want to use a big truck, or the tree is tall, or I'm building a tall tower. So you can start to use some of those concept words. You're sitting next to me, come on and sit next to me. Those are things that, you know, you don't really, they're learning all the time that you're talking to them. And so they're going to learn the idea of next to, or let's put this behind me right now. Those are all things that they're learning that they're going to need for comprehension and for expression. Let's see, quantity words. So if they have one, they may have one grape, they may have 3 grapes, you have a lot, you have a few. Look, I only have one, you have more than me. Those are opportunities for you to build quantity words. Okay, things that are same or different. You can talk about that when you're, if you're building blocks and they have all blue, but your blocks are different colors. You can comment that, oh, you have all the same and mine are different. Those are all things that they learn incidentally, but we're just letting you know that those are things that as you talk about and as you narrate when you're playing with your children, those are important words to learn so that they can comprehend and they can start to use those words. I'll talk about ways you can do that with your routines. So if you're giving them, you know, at bath time, that's a great time for them to learn all of their body parts. You can comment about, we're washing your nose now, we're washing your hair. You can just, as you're talking, and keep it fun and keep it, you know, it doesn't have to be a lesson. Everything doesn't have to be lesson words, but just realize that as the more you're talking to them, they're learning. That's their opportunity to take those words in. You can talk about their body parts. You can talk about the things that you're using. You're using the soap, you're using the cloth. Let's get the towel around you, are all times for them to learn words. Action words like washing, we're pouring, I need to squeeze this. It's all times that you can use those words. They can understand if the water is hot or cold. You can also use, like, bath time is sort of a time to recall the day's events and just talk about what we did first today, talk about what we did next, and just kind of recount some of the things you did. It gives them some experience in giving narratives and hearing narratives. Same thing with getting dressed. That's a good time for you to comment about, let's put this over your head, put your arms through your shirt. We have to put your shirt on. Go get your pants. We're putting your pants on. You're naming the items. We're putting pants on the legs. We have to, put your feet in. That's a time when you can, again, comment about the item, the nouns, and the actions. You could have them request at that time, hold up 2 different things. That's another opportunity for them to practice requesting. And bedtime stories are always great times for you to express, different items, common items, whatever your book is about. They're going to learn about animals, learn about a park, or whatever you're reading. It's just a good time, again, to have them point to things. You're pointing out things. So I can also talk about like using play for for opportunities to do this. Puzzles are a great time for them to, again, learn items. You might have a puzzle about farm animals. Well, that's just great for them to get the animal, for you to point out the animal. You could talk about, this animal is furry, this animal has feathers, he has 4 legs. So we can talk about, I have to put this one over. Concept words are important for them to know. This one's over. Oh, the dog is next to the cat. Blocks are a great time for them to learn the concept words. Like, this is tall, it's so big. Action words, I pushed it over, it fell. So, and those are, you can also, like, they can learn pronouns, like, I did this, you pushed down yours. Those are ways that they learn how to learn. Tea parties are a great opportunity to learn the common items, their forks, their plates, talk about the food items, maybe request, what do they need, talk about, I'm putting this on the table. It's just sort of narrating everything that you're doing, and that's how they learn. So I don't know, that's just some examples of how they can Play-Doh, everything, Play-Doh, Mr. Potato Head, they can learn their body parts. You can do anything. You can roll a ball, you can build things. So I don't know, does anybody have any questions about how they're learning play? Anybody, Gabby or Margaret, have anything to add?
No, that was great. The only thing I would kind of emphasize there is there's been a lot of research going into how growing or expanding on those around the verbs or the actions in a sentence can be a really great thing to support in the kid, in your child, as they're growing and developing. It's such an important building block within a sentence. And so, they first learn words as they're going about, as a child developing, but the next step is putting the word with an action a lot of the time. And so that's something that can usually be looked out for if they have limited verbs, is that can be something that can be supported further, especially as you're narrating for them, like Miss Malik and Odin were saying. And then those, like, first the object with the verb or something like that. So the noun with the action, goes into like maybe a more childlike sentence, that kind of thing. So it develops further from there and then goes to more an adult sentence. So that, like, roughly you can see how your child's words or sentences start growing. And so, there's another word that goes with it. If you build it into different play setups, like tea time and like Miss Dunn was saying, or even just with toys, like some of their favorite toys, like whatever they're interested in, that you can kind of engage with them in that activity, just with toys and being able to put together like what the toy is doing. Say, not instead of asking them a lot of questions about what they're doing with it, you could narrate what you are making your own toy doing, and see what the kid or what your child can do alongside you with their toy. So look, my bear is going up, or bear goes up, something like that. Simplifying it down to whatever level your child is at. Or bear sits down, something like that. And so there's a lot of different ways to tie in those actions that can be really, really helpful for the child.
Mhm. Yeah, the actions, the concepts, the pronouns, I think that those are the building blocks for beginning sentences for the younger children. So does anybody else have any questions for us? No?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. We hope you
Thank
learned
you.
anything. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us about play, or if you have any questions about your particular child, give us a call. Reach out to us at the school.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thanks
you,
everyone for
everybody.
joining us, and make sure that you let your child's teacher know that you did attend this workshop. You can just send them a message, however you contact them. Just let them know you attended a workshop so they can kind of just mark you down, and everybody is good to go. I hope everybody has a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
everyone.
Have a good
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.